How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another video. This is going to be about the Rogue Food Conference that I attended down at Polyface Farm in Virginia on the 13th and 14th of August last year, 2021. So I was going to go in 2020, and then things got crazy. I don't know if you heard, but it was kind of wacky for a bit there. And so they rescheduled it to 2021, and they announced that it was going to be at Polyface. So I said, well, I had already bought the ticket, so I'm like, well, I'm going. And so it's a 12.5-hour drive down, 12.5-hour drive back. This is when gas prices were not as atrocious as they are now. Man, it seems like everything's getting kind of expensive. I wonder why that is. Who knows? So I drove down there on a Thursday. Friday was the tour of the farm that Joel did, and then Saturday was the conference itself, and then I drove back up on Sunday, on my birthday, on the 15th. So that was great. I stayed safe the whole way. I didn't hit anybody. I didn't get pulled over for speeding, which is a miracle. Drove safe. It was all good, and I'm just going to go over quickly. I got stuff written down here. The stuff that we saw on the tour, and then some comments on the Rogue Food Conference itself. I heard about the Rogue Food Conference, the first ever Rogue Food Conference, from Mark Baker at Baker's Green Acres. He was asked to speak at the first ever Rogue Food Conference that was down in Kentucky. It was right on the border of Kentucky and Ohio, just south of the Ohio River, I believe. I went down there along with my brother and my sister-in-law. And that was a really great experience. A lot of really good speakers. I mean, the energy in the room down there was palpable. And it was like everyone was like really friendly. Really great people. We're like, all these regenerative food people are like really, really nice. And it kind of felt like it was our people, you know? We fit in. Everyone understood each other. Everyone was on our side. Everyone's nice. There was a really good energy there. And so I decided I wanted to go to this Rogue Food Conference. And so I drove down there on a Thursday, and then Friday was the tour. So I got to the farm around 10 or 11 or so, just to walk around the farm a little bit on my own, take a look at the greenhouses, the brooder, their barn, the compost facilities, and nose around in their farm store for a bit. And then the tour started at 1 o'clock, where Joel and Eli, I'm pretty sure his name is, each drove a tractor pulling a couple hay wagons that we all sat on. There was probably maybe 100 of us, maybe 150, something like that, of people who were going to attend the conference the following day who were on this tour. And the first stop was the cows. I have it written down here. They were up near the house, kind of in a lower spot where it looked to me like almost too wet to put animals on if it were like normal. But when I was down there, they were going through a really tough drought. It was like 95 degrees. So when I was down there, they only had like 1.5 inches of rain since March or April, I believe. So everything was crispy. The surrounding farms, the pastures were brown. And then you roll into Polyface and their pastures look pretty good. They were faring far better than the surrounding farms. I can say that for sure, seeing it firsthand. So we went and saw the cows first. They were underneath a shade cloth down there up near the house, and that was cool to see. The Eggmobile was next. This is Polyface's pasture sanitization, or sanitizing, I guess it'd be called, crew. So the purpose of those birds is to scratch the cow patties in search of fly larvae. 3 days after a cow drops a plop, the fly larvae in there, I think, hatch, 3 or 4 days after the fly lays an egg in it. And so they run those layers 3 days behind their cows to scratch through the patties to get that fly larva before they turn into flies. And so those birds, those chickens, don't have an electric fence around them. They're just in a mobile hen house, and they get moved every day or every couple days behind the cattle so that they can roam free, scratch cow patties, and then they go up into the egg mobile at night. And so they do lose a decent amount of birds in that system just because they don't spend the extra labor to put electric netting around them. But their purpose is to increase fertility behind the cows, scratching out their patties so that they don't leave dead spots wherever there's a cow pat. They scratch it out nice and even so that the rain can wash it all down, and that it just increases fertility all around. They eat the bugs, reduces the fly population a decent amount, at least enough to where it's worth doing. So the next stop was the pigs. They were chilling, just sleeping in a dirt hole that they had dug underneath a tree, trying to stay cool. It was just really, really brutally hot when we were down there. People were guzzling water. The pigs, they were just trying to stay cool. Went to the turkeys. They had 150 turkeys in 2 electric nets, and each electric net was 164 feet. They have their feed buggy, and then they have their, what they call the gobbledygook behind it, and each one is on wheels or skids, and so they just hook a tractor up to it, move it to a new spot, and close the fence around it. And so if we wanted to produce a lot of turkeys like that here in Michigan, we already have a lot of the infrastructure to do that. And seeing it in person, it's just really remarkable at how simple it is. So our goal for this summer is to increase turkey sales. They're much easier to process and a lot less work and a lot more hardy. You don't got to worry about them as much getting wet and stuff like that. So that was really cool to see. So right next to the turkeys was the Millennium Feathernet. Now, unlike the Eggmobile, the Millennium Feathernet is designed to produce a lot of eggs. That is their egg producing model. And so they do have electric net around those hens to protect them from coyotes, possums, raccoons, stuff like that. So their losses are not near as high in that model because they just want eggs. They want highly efficient egg production in that system. So at that point, it was getting pretty windy. It was maybe 2 o'clock or so in the afternoon. And Joel and the guys, they could tell that there was a storm brewing over the mountain. And so we cut it short up there by the egg layers and headed down to the barn and the compost area to talk about that real quick. So we went down there. The cows weren't in the barn, obviously. They were out on pasture. But there were some piglets and some rabbits there. So I went in there earlier and looked around there, but we stopped there pretty quick because it was getting windy. So a lot of people didn't get a chance to get out and see that. But there's plenty of time afterwards that they could on their own. They managed to get the hay wagons and everyone inside the greenhouse just in the nick of time because it started pouring. And they probably got maybe 1/3 of an inch of rain or so. And the same thing happened on Saturday after the conference ended. At about 3:30, they got another big thunderstorm that came over the mountain. And it was the most rain they said that they'd gotten almost all summer. So that was really cool to see. I got to poke around the farm store a bit. Really impressed. I had freezer envy pretty strongly when I was in there. They got these beautiful glass-faced freezers that present all their products really well. All the people there, super kind. It was really, really great. The conference itself on Saturday was really awesome. John Moody organizes the whole thing, or most of it, to my understanding, and he manages to get really great speakers. Each time that I've been there, the speakers have been really, really good. And to my understanding, they did film the speakers last year. So if they did, I'll go and check, and I'll put that link in the description if that's available, so you guys can go and check it out if you'd like. So the whole conference is basically centered around people who have been confronted by the food police, we like to call them, the USDA, or the FDA, or the FDA, as Joel Salatin likes to call them. It's basically people who have cleverly sidestepped, loopholed their way through the food regulations, food laws, in order to keep Uncle Sam off their back. If you're not aware, food laws are crazy strict. They are very burdensome and create a very formidable obstacle to small producers who want to get into selling food directly to consumers. There's a lot of economies of scale that are beneficial to large producers where they can comply with these laws for a much lower price per unit than a smaller producer can. There's a lot of stuff like that, and how you can sell like poultry, meat, pork, all those products. Raw milk is a big one. And this whole conference is how to sidestep the system or work within the system under the radar legally as much as we can in order to get our products to customers the way that we want to. And so that's what most of the conference is. It's talking about freedom, talking about your rights as an American citizen, how to assert those rights, how to work around laws to try to do good, you know. So that's what the conference is. There were a lot of good speakers, lots of awesome vendors there as well. I bought some coffee that is still, I think it's Holler Roast coffee. I regret to admit it's on the shelf over here. I still haven't used it yet because I have neglected to put it in the blender to grind it. So it's just been sitting there. It's probably still good. I'll probably still drink it. I really got the sense at the conference of community. Everyone was so kind. We were all there for the same reasons. I think Joel Salatin said at the first conference, and I think it was true of this conference as well, that the attendees are doers. These are people who are doing things, who are making stuff, and who are going to take the speaker's advice and stories and apply them in their own lives. And you really got the sense of that at the conference. These are people who know what they want, and they are going to do what they have to do in order to do good things. You know, it's not like we're criminals trying to sell terrible things to people who shouldn't have them. You know, we want to sell chicken. We want to sell milk. You know, we want to get beef and pork to our neighbors, and a lot of people who do that are treated like criminals. And so the whole conference is about that and how to sidestep that, avoid that, and let good people do good things. So that was a sense that I got from the whole thing, and it was really great to see and meet new people and put faces to names that I had seen online in the different Facebook groups and stuff that I was in and had interacted with, but now I had the chance to meet in person. That was really great. It was a really great conference. I'm really glad that I went. It was a long drive. Man, it was a long drive, but I managed to get to and from Virginia safely. The chance that I got to see Polyface was really amazing. I had wanted to do that for a while, go and see it in person. And so I hope from this video you guys get to see a little bit of what Polyface is like. And if there's a Rogue Food Conference going on in your area near you, I highly suggest going to it. You're going to meet and connect with people who are doers, who are shakers and movers, and who are like-minded. And there's a real sense of community there that I think is very valuable, especially now with how crazy the world is going. You want to start building, a lot of people call it a tribe. You want to surround yourself with like-minded people with the same goals, who are highly skilled and are of high moral caliber. I think that's very important in the world that we're living in right now. I think that's really important. I think that is it. I'm hoping to get more videos out soon. What do I mean by soon? Probably in the next couple weeks here. I plan to do some drawing videos now. If you see, I'll move this here. I've got this cool camera arm setup thing here that I can maneuver around my desk to get really good shots of the art I'm taking. So it'll be better than the videos that I've made previously. It'll be more enjoyable to watch, hopefully. And I got my old cell phone here that I got to get the battery changed out in so I can get really high quality footage for you guys. I think that's about it. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, leave those down below. Like, share, all that good stuff. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.